Hey YouTube, this is The Art of Prepping. Good morning to you. This is going to be my commentary on the debate. This is the first presidential debate. In particular, it's going to be the first section of the debate. There were 6 sections, and I'm just going to take the first one and dissect it pretty much just on what Hillary Clinton said. I've made some comments already about what Trump said, not particularly about the first segment here, but about things in general. And because I have more concerns about her getting into office, I'm going to go ahead and comment about some of the things that she said. Now, I did watch the pre-debate, and that lasted here in America for about an hour. And the debate itself lasted for about 90 minutes. And the post-debate commentaries, depending on what you watched and where you were, lasted from anywhere from an hour or two or more. I listened to the debate for the first time on the radio, as I said before. And I just recently watched online the entire debate, on video, format, just to see the facial features, the body language, blah, blah, blah. And so this is what I've really noticed even more so. I mean, when you're listening to the radio, you can hear it. But in the pre-debate, Trump is attacked and very much singled out in the media in terms of being put down, slandered. There just seems to be an enormous unbalanced amount of reporting to question his numbers and facts and his positions, and there's almost no talk at all about any kind of questioning of Hillary. You can just tell right there, there's something wrong. Now, going into this first segment, and this is all we're going to talk about, is just this first segment from the very beginning to the end of it, which lasts a little around, 20-some minutes, I believe, of the debate. And Clinton, to me, from first gut reactions, when I see Clinton talking, she looks nervous. And she looks like she's trying to speak off of memory. It's not something that's like some type of... and I'm sure she was warned not to do this because she probably, has a problem tripping up and saying something that's too extreme, because she is extreme. But Hillary Clinton knows like she was just coming off of some kind of script that was written for her that she memorized. That's how I take it. Now, the first thing that she really says here that I put down is that she wants to increase the minimum wage. Like we can see that doesn't have any kind of real effect on the economy. And she thinks that that's going to pull out all the people in poverty. And no, it actually increases the cost of goods and the cost of living. This is the problem when you have a government that wants to dictate how much people should make and the minimums and how to run businesses. You get the side effect that everything else has to go up to pay for the cost of those workers to get that minimum wage. So that's a farce right there. And so she loves to dictate how businesses should do business, even though she's not a business person. She has no clue how to make jobs. She's never made a job in her life. Especially when she says, oh, they should have paid leave, oh, really? Oh, really? So that should just be kind of a given to her, because apparently people just earned it and that's just how it is. Oh, yeah. Then how do you explain how we're going to pay for all that? How do small private, businesses pay for maternity leave? Is it really the business's, problem? Is it their fault that you got pregnant and that they have to pay for that? And they have to not only pay for you, but they have to pay for a replacement until you get off of your maternity leave. That's a burden that's completely asinine, completely ridiculous. So Hillary's living in a fantasy world. Of course, she's a multi-billionaire, so what does she care? Free college, she says. Is it so free? No, it's not. Taxpayers, the few people that do pay taxes anymore, it's like, a little less than 50% of Americans. And more specifically, from what I've seen from the data, about 20% of Americans really shoulder the major burden of taxes here in America, the real enchilada of the tax burden. And so when you have around 20% really, covering it, and up to almost 50% doing some of the legwork, you don't have a lot of people realistically trying to keep this country going. It's on the edge right now. We're on the precipice of not actually functioning. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we borrow more than 40 cents on the dollar, to keep government going, because there's not enough revenue. So taxpayers will pay for that so-called free college. So that's a bunch of malarkey. And so that just goes and feeds right into the mentality of, entitlement. And of course, it feeds into welfare state too, that you just deserve it just because you're an American. You haven't earned shit, and so you shouldn't get it. Now, the rich and wealthy, she says, are, pretty much the ones that aren't paying their fair share. Last time I looked, the people who are, rich and wealthy, they got rich and wealthy mainly. A very small minority ever got it from just inheriting wealth. But the majority actually got wealthy because they created jobs and they made something. They're producers. And so if they're the ones producing the majority of jobs, but she wants to restrict them more and even create less opportunities for them to reinvest their wealth, because she wants to, increase their taxes. I guess, in her mind, that's going to actually create more jobs. When there's just no logic behind it, it will kill jobs. She's an idiot, just a complete idiot. So you're giving the people who actually create jobs less incentives to create more jobs, because why create more jobs if you're just going to get taxed that much more and have less resources to reinvest in your business? Of course, she's not a business person. Once again, she has no clue. Whenever you look, this is another observation at Clinton when she was speaking. Man, does she look fake? She looks like she's like some kind of like a plastic. And it could be just her makeup and everything, but just her body stance. And first of all, she's completely out of shape. She looks pathetic. Number two, though, she looks very fake. She acts fake. She speaks fake. She kind of almost talks down, and she's kind of like in this little bubble and like, la, 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 la. She's very pathetic. I mean, just look at her from that standpoint. Of course, if you're a sympathizer to her, you'll look beyond all this. And by no means am I trying to only focus on her. But in this video, this is just about her. But Trump has his own problems. But I will tell you, though, the more I watch the video, the more that I enjoy watching Trump. Even though I don't agree on some of the things. I was going to say most, but I'd have to say it's about 50% still that I don't agree with. But, it's sure in the hell a lot better than Clinton at this point, So we'll get to that in a minute, though, a little bit more about how I think that Trump interacted with her. And the next thing that Hillary was talking about was that she is anti-trickle-down economics, but she's pro-increase on the taxes of the workers, the taxpayers, to a socialist means. So basically, she wants the taxpayers to be the real source of the recovery, instead of actually growing the economy. And this is just the crazy part of it. She thinks that the wealthy, because they're not paying enough taxes, is the real reason why we don't have a balanced budget. Now, I'm sure she probably knows the real truth, but this is just her stance because she's a socialist and she says things like this because her objective is obviously to destroy the nation. But she really thinks that the education programs and social programs are not being expanded upon enough, just because the wealthy supposedly don't pay enough taxes, and they probably don't pay much taxes, if any, some of them. But they also create such a large opportunity and also wealth distribution and for others. There is an incentive there, and it should be there an incentive for them to actually help grow the economy, and she is totally against that. And then she goes and plays the poor card. Oh, poor Hillary's father. And almost like she's trying to also like, symbiotically, like try to connect with how poor her father was as a poor screen printer. And, even though she's a billionaire. And it's like, really? And how like, oh, poor Hillary, is, she's just like everyone else. And she's trying so hard to connect and just be like all the other minorities, either with the race or with economics or whatever you would consider middle to lower class that she's trying to identify with, that larger voting base. But yeah, she's trying to play that, oh, pathetic me, poor me, please have pity on me, and my family had it so rough. Really? What about all the other families that do this like all the time? I guess you don't really care about them. No specifics is just what I've really seen. She refers back to her website or her book multiple times throughout the whole debate, but it's pretty shocking how, even on both sides. Now, Trump, in my opinion, did give, at times more details, but specifically, they didn't give very many at all. And Clinton she just has that really generic stance on everything, especially in the debate. And the moderator is what really gets me, is right after, Trump gets more specific, he points his finger at him again and tries to say, you need to clarify that. You need to be more specific after, Clinton just said something that was the most generic thing you could possibly say. And then whenever, Clinton was starting to trip up, the moderator would try to jump in there and say, well, we got to move on to the next topic to protect her. And he never did that at all, pretty much with Trump. In 2007 and 2008, she said the housing collapse was due to low taxation of the rich. Oh, really? Oh, really? I guess you don't really want to, call it out for what it was. You don't want to call that there was a lot of derivatives and a lot of packaging of REITs and real estate types of investments that were basically sowed on what I would call speculation. Huh? You want to talk about that, Clinton? So she puts Trump down for doing his business because he actually is in the business of doing real estate, transactions. Okay. So he makes the comment apparently that he was looking forward to opportunities to do better deals, if there was a collapse, because he saw the bubble. It was a big bubble, and people in that industry saw it. It's not like it was some kind of magical thing that just happened. But she uses that opportunity to try to put him down. And she also says, hey, it's because of people like you not paying enough taxes and you trying to take advantage of these bad opportunities that we have bad opportunities, which is just completely bullshit. So once again, she doesn't blame Wall Street for any of the speculative trading or the insiders that manipulated any of the packages of oversold commodities, especially in the real estate field. For the collapse. No, she doesn't do that at all. And then she says Trump's plan for economic development is going to result in an increase of debt by $5 trillion and about 3.5 million jobs lost. Plus a possible recession, she said at the very end. She said, oh, that's a high likelihood of a recession. Really? Well, what the hell do you think we've been going through Obama? This is a living nightmare. And then she wants to bring that up about, Trump may increase about $5 trillion. But then did you just happen to notice that your buddy Obama has doubled the national debt since he's been in 8 years? Well, that's been like 7.5. But, roughly in his two freaking, 10 years here, he's really jacked everything up. And so what is that? That's like what? Getting close to 9 or so trillion. I don't know what the math was, but I believe that when Bush got out of office, it was around 10.5 trillion, roughly, something of that nature. And it's going to be around a little over 20 trillion when he gets out. So it's basically doubled. Whatever that math is, they showed that it was a little over doubled a lot of the math. And so. Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. It really is. So anywhere from $9 to $10 trillion that Obama has added to the debt, And she doesn't want to comment about that, even though Trump, points it out in a more discreet kind of way. He didn't really say the number. He just said that it doubled, that it's a massive difference. And but she wants to talk about his supposedly $5 trillion, which is just made up. But here her buddy Obama has doubled that number, and she doesn't even want to go there. And so, it's just another game that they're playing. And so she also thinks that solar panels are the answer. Oh yeah. That's a real clean source there. There's a thing called batteries, and batteries are not part of a clean energy source. So I don't know what she's smoking there. And she also says she knows how to create and get new jobs. Oh really? Oh yeah. Yeah, we see that as very evident. Yeah. It clearly is just a very intelligent lady, isn't it? Yeah, she really knows anything. She probably hasn't created any job. If anything, she's probably killed, and not only individuals, literally, because she's, psychotic, but probably, has killed many, many jobs, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions, through her pushing of her politics. And so, she was for NAFTA, and her husband at least, and they pushed that. They're globalist. What do you expect? And so the government is supposed to, according to her, help to guide, she says, businesses and the finances of the home. Really? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what we really need is the government in our private lives any more than it already is. Get the hell out of our lives. Cut the red tape and get out of my way. Okay. And yes, she really is pro the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Okay, and this is the thing that she wants to deny. I didn't really say that. I didn't really support that. I have a book on that, she says, and I talk about it in the book. Of course, she can't really address it at the debate because she's a liar. And you just kind of watch the media how they cover for Clinton, constantly. It's just amazing. It's an amazing cover up here. It's an amazing farce, And of course, we talked about, who owns the media, and it's this large global conglomerates that have their own agenda, and they'll cover for someone like Clinton. I had no doubt about it. And so, Clinton says, go to her website or go and read my book if you want to get any answers. But I'm not going to clarify it here. Well, she doesn't want to. Yeah, because you won't like what you're going to hear because it's jacked up. And it's not going to be good for you. So those are my just some highlights of the first segment of 6. As you can see, there's a lot right there to be concerned of. And I didn't want to go through the other 5 sections. It's just very, laborious to sit here and try to take notes on all of it. Personally, I can't hardly stand Hillary even enough to watch any more videos on her. She's disgusting. So as much as I am in the situation that I don't want to vote for either one of the candidates just because I'm fed up with all the politics. The more that I listen to Hillary, the more I want to do anything possible to keep her out. So I will pretty much be forced to vote for Trump. I mean, there's just no other way around it. Luckily, where I live, typically the vote is, from what I've seen historically, ever since I was a child, has been for the Republicans. So probably even if I didn't even vote, it would obviously come to Trump. So that's cool too. So I still may or may not vote. I haven't completely made up my mind. I don't know if it would even really matter. The state's going to probably go for Trump anyways. And so that's good. That's good news though. Anyway, so I hope this was somewhat insightful. And for all those people who say, oh, there's all these people on the fence. They don't know what they're going to vote for if they don't have these awesome, debates. No, I think that's just a malarkey. I think that anybody who has a half brain cell knows which candidate is a little bit more suitable and better for the American people. Of course, there's a lot of idiots out there that have no clue. And whatever one that you're picking, I mean, I'm pretty sure you know by now. And you don't need my commentary or some goofy, one-sided, slanted, biased, debating, series to give you any more idea of who you think is going to be a better choice. This is just a farce. This is just theater. This is political theater at its greatest. And you have, Trump that, says some great things. And I think that he actually has good intentions for the most part. but he's misled on a lot of things that you don't want him to be misled on. I mean, it's some pretty starch contrast on what is and is not constitutional, and he does not know the Constitution and the law. And it's very scary because he's kind of putting his mindset of a businessman as a politician and a leader of the country, which you can't do. You can't run the country as some kind of wild pit bull businessman. And you can say, well, some people say and use the analogy of the president is the CEO of America. I can understand where you're coming from on that, but you have to work within the Constitution. You can't just make up edicts and dictate your own ways to do things when it's outside the law. And this is all that I have the concern of. I'm not against him being aggressive, toward building America up again and getting a clean house. I'm all for that. But I am concerned about things when he says, as I talked about in a previous video, stop and frisk, or his asinine ideas. And sometimes I think it's just because of where he's lived for the majority of his life, like in New York. I think it's just that very liberal mentality of the people who he's been around that's really just corrupted some of his viewpoints. That's all I can really say about that. His aggressive stance, though, on certain types of behaviors and stuff, especially with security, I think go way too far. Especially with the NSA and the Homeland Security. I'm afraid that he would give them a lot more power than they already have and they already need, and they're just going to abuse it that much more. And so I don't agree with all that. All this spying on American people, recording our conversations, and keeping tabs and dossiers on us is complete bunk. And they would probably deny that they do that, but they do. This has clearly been shown. And so they're not supposed to be doing it right now, to my knowledge, but they do it. And how would I know that? I just know that the government is corrupt, and so why wouldn't they do it? So you don't have to. You can look around. You can see that they're doing everything they can possibly do to put more and more tyranny on the backs of us now and our future generations. And this is all by design. There's a tipping point at some point in the future. I mean, how much more debt can we really accrue? Can we accrue how much more? 20 trillion. We're over right now, roughly. Can we go to 30 trillion? What about 100 trillion? What's that point? And then all the other governments say, we're not going to lend you no more money. And at what point do we start putting more fiat currency? And how do we ever manage to pay off what we have? The answer is we probably would never do it. And it's because it's designed to collapse us, to create an economic restart. And if that's not the answer, the only other answer it is to dwindle away and through inflation, just inflate away the value of our currency. And there is another other option here. I mean, it's pretty much just jacked up. You can't have that much debt. And if, it's very plausible when we don't pay it back, we'll go to war with those countries that, we are in debt to. And this is how shit works. And so I'm pretty sure that those banksters have investments on both sides, and if we go to war with those people, they're going to profit regardless. And this is how the globalists work. They fuel the fire on both sides, and so they play both sides, just like in Vietnam. They played both sides. In the world wars, they played both sides. And so it doesn't take a genius to open your eyes and see that this is why they really call it, war a theater, because it is. It's not that because people really didn't die. They really did. It was very, very tragic. It's horrible. And it's not because there weren't a lot of good people that had a lot of good intentions. But the whole starting of these conflicts was of artificial means. And it was all driven by ideologies promoted by globalists to profit on both sides at the great expense of many generations of destruction and death, and that is on their backs. I can only imagine if there is a thing called karma, they are probably in the lowest form of dirt that is, and if there isn't, and there's a thing called hell. then they're burning in the very bottom of the deepest, hottest, most horrendous part of it. But with that, though, you guys take care, and feel free to leave your comments if you've lasted this long in the video. I don't know. Some people do, and I really appreciate the longevity. I mean, you got some really some real, I don't know, endurance, if you will. But a lot of people don't make it this far. But if you have, leave a comment on what you think, and if there's any other type of commentaries you would like for me to dig into a little bit more, I'd be happy to do it. Have a great day, and stay warm. It's starting to really cool down where I live. I mean, way, way cooler. I mean, it's 20 to 30 degrees a day now, cooler than it was just a few days ago. So I like it, but man, it sure is different.